In this video, we're going to discuss sketching of polynomials using the factors. So we can take two examples into consideration. If you have y equal x minus 2 all squared, we learned that this, if the function has a vertex at 0 and 0, it's going to be pushed 2 to the right, so it's going to look something like this. And we also learned that if you have x minus 3 multiplied by x plus 5, then you're going to get intercepts at -5 and +3, and the parabola is going to look something like this, right? Where here these values represent the x-intercept at -5 and +3. So we can notice something, that when you have the bracket to be squared, the parabola rebounds on the x-axis, it does not cross. Versus when you have these brackets, power of 1, they're not squared, the parabola crosses the x-axis from then the positive to the negative, or from the negative to the positive. So meaning, if you have something like this, and let's say this is at 2, this is at -1, and this is at 4. If the parabola crosses the x-axis, these are roots or intercepts. So we said we write the factors as x plus 1. You change the sign of the bracket. But since it crosses the x-axis, so it's going to be power of 1. Versus here, when it rebounds on the x-axis, again, we still change the sign. But since it did not cross the x-axis, we call this a double root, or the bracket, the factor is going to be squared. And finally, if you have here 4, then this is going to be x minus 4, and since it crosses the x-axis, the power of the factor is going to be 1. So this is going to be your function. Let's take another example on this. Maybe your function looks something like this. So it's here at the -2, here at the 0, and here at the 6. So again, if it crosses the x-axis, then the bracket definitely always change the sign of the intercept in order to get the factor or the bracket. So the bracket here is going to be x plus 2. You're going to change the sign of the bracket, and since it crosses, then the power of this is going to be 1. It rebounds on the 0. So it's going to be x minus 0, or you just write it as x. But since it rebounds, it's going to be squared, right? And if it crosses at the 6, so the final bracket is going to be x minus 6. And since it crosses, the power of the bracket is only going to be 1.